ends up falling in.
Oh my God!
And is up to his armpits in human feces, trapped.
No, just sitting light sirens. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm the turnpike. You're not
I
getting
can't
through.
tell you how many times I sat at that light and watched the
And
rigs
just-
go by me because I'm stuck at the light.
Welcome to The Firehouse, the show dedicated to the brave men and women who serve our community.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Firehouse on WRHU 88.7. I am your host, Chris Moses, and today, sitting with me in the Firehouse is my boy, James. What's going on?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So, James, tell them your name, tell them what department, and we got a lot to talk about because he's been in a lot of departments. So, we got a lot to talk about, but tell them what department you're currently in.
All right.
Your name, any ranks that you've held, and just how long you have been in the fire service.
All right. So, again, name is James Fehling. I am currently a member of the Miller Place Fire Department in Suffolk County on Long Island. I have been in the fire service in some capacity for the past 35 years.
35 years.
Yeah, I've been a member of, I guess, 4 different departments as I aged and moved. I started my fire career with the Wantagh Fire Department, which is the town I grew up in. Eventually moved out of my house and moved to Levittown, which is the next town up. Was there for a few years, then met my now wife.
What's your wife's name?
Diana.
Diana, what's up?
And we moved to, she lived in Plainview and I moved in with her, and I was in the process of putting my application, interviewing with the Plainview Fire Department when I got my letter to join the FDNY.
And we're going to get into that too. We're going to get a little bit into that too.
Just under 20 years in the FDNY. After literally like a week after we got married, we bought a house in Sound Beach out east, and I was a member of Sound Beach for a little while. Then took a hiatus because it was a little too much being, a city fireman and a volunteer. I decided to take a step back. So I was just doing the city and had a couple kids. My son turns 18. He joins Miller Place Fire Department, and he started getting harassed. Why isn't your dad in the fire department?
That's right. Why isn't he in here? Bring him in.
So so eventually joined the Miller Place.
So that's where home is right now.
That's where home is right now. Yeah.
Okay, so 35 years. I know you got some stories for me. I know you got some stories, and we're going to get into those stories, but we got to get into just the beginning of, the humble beginnings. What makes you want to join the fire service from the beginning?
Believe it or not, I am the first.
You're the first
in my family to go fire department. I am from a huge family of cops. My father was a cop. Both my grandfathers were cops. Even my wife's father was a cop.
So everybody.
My brother Lee, who was also in the city fire department, was a cop first. He was in the 109 in Queens. I was the one who broke the mold. But from as long as I can remember, I buffed. I was huge buff. I remember as a kid riding my bicycle with my 8-channel crystal scanner that I got at Radio Shack, buffing calls,
wherever you could go.
Yeah,
so
I did that and couldn't wait till I turned 18 so I could finally join. So I was always in.
You was always in. So the police life didn't really attract you. It didn't attract you. It was the fire life.
It's probably a good thing because now as you get older, you get grumpy, and I'm sure if I ever became a cop, I'd be shooting people left and right because I just couldn't handle dealing with them.
Grumpy. All right, so you started 18. So what department are you in at 18?
At 18, I joined Wantagh. That's where I lived at the time. I was still living at home with mom and dad. Joined Wantagh Fire Department. I was a member of Ladder Company 1 in headquarters on Park Avenue.
So how long were you in Wantagh?
I want to say 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years. So you got off probation, became a Black Shield and everything like that, right? Okay. Did you go in, and this is just a sidebar, any leadership within?
I have not been in, with the exception of Miller Place, I have not been in a leadership position in any of the departments.
In any of the departments.
It was never my thing.
Never
I never
your
wanted,
thing.
and I kind of learned at a very early age that the fire department is a very unique thing in that poop rolls uphill and not downhill. And I always thought that was amazing.
I love that. You're right.
You get in trouble and your captains and lieutenants get in
Get in
trouble
trouble.
for it. Yeah,
That's
they're like,
right.
well, you
It
didn't direct
involves-
him what to do, so you're in trouble too.
And it's like, dude, what are you talking about? I didn't even
And-
know he was.
And it was even
We
worse.
always tell our chiefs, captains, lieutenants, plausible deniability
Yes.
always helps.
Yep.
Don't be here. Don't be here, Cap.
Yeah, but it was even worse in the city because your company would do something, and the first thing that would happen is your captain would get lifted, and now he's at some other firehouse,
And it's like-
and he wasn't even there when it happened. Well, you weren't in control of your firehouse,
you
so
should
now
no
you're
matter
gone.
what.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. You're
So,
sleeping at home. You should
I
be
was
in
like-
control of your
I was like,
firehouse.
I don't want that responsibility.
You didn't even
I'm
want
out on
that.
So
Yeah.
the first place I've ever had any kind of responsibility is Miller Place because I have such a long history with driving apparatus and stuff and taking care of it that they made me chief driver in Miller Place.
Okay. So let's just go back though. So Wantagh, you're in 18. You said you got off probation. What makes you now leave from Wantagh? Like, why did you leave Wantagh and go to the next
I
department?
left Wantagh because shortly after 18, my parents wound up getting divorced.
Okay.
And my mom was like, you're good. We're going to stay here and stuff. And then not too long after, she realized she really couldn't afford the house anymore and stuff. So she said, not a rush, but start looking around. You're going to need to move on eventually. You're over 18 years old. You can find a place, but you have time.
Yeah.
She told me, and I was like, okay. So I start, let me venture out. I'll look
looking.
here and there. A week later, she comes to me and goes, yeah, the house is sold. You need to move out.
And you're
So,
18, like deer in the headlights.
And
like,
I
wait,
tried
what?
to find something in Wantagh so I could stay there, but
Yeah.
the cheapest place I could find that I could afford was in Levittown. So I moved up to Levittown and I joined headquarters in Levittown.
Okay.
And
So that was just like a thing. As soon as you moved, you're like, I'm looking for the fire
oh,
department.
that was actually a big thing in my search.
on
was
where you were looking. What department?
What department was I going to be able to join? And
Did you know
Levittown-
anyone in Levittown already, or
No, I didn't. I
So you
really
just
know
came
anyone.
in and-
It actually, I didn't know anyone, but I did.
Okay.
It turned out that I joined ladder company in Levittown, and my captain at the time was actually dating and then married someone I went to high school with.
Oh, so you
So I kind of knew it by
kind of 6-degree separation
yeah.
kind of thing. You ended up
So,
knowing him.
yeah.
Okay.
But Levittown was a great department. I had a
Okay.
great time. The hardest thing with Levittown was I lived on the opposite side of Hempstead Turnpike from the firehouse.
Oh, so how do you
anytime-
even?
You don't. It's just you're not crossing 6 lanes of traffic.
It's
on
not
Hempstead Turnpike.
happening. You gotta wait
just
for the lights.
Gotta wait for
You
the
just
light.
gotta wait.
Yeah.
Holy.
And there was no like, let me make a right here and go around. No,
no
that doesn't happen.
light
You
sirens.
gotta
It
wait for
doesn't
the light.
matter.
Yeah.
Hempstead Turnpike. You're not
I
getting
can't
through.
tell you how many times I sat at that light and watched the
And
rigs
just-
go by me because I'm stuck at the light.
I
So
know that's like,
that
man,
was the worst. Yeah.
All right, so now we're in Levittown, and how long are you there?
I would say probably 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years
Yeah.
in line.
And-
Okay, so 3 or 4 years in
Yeah,
Wantagh, 3 or 4 years in Levittown.
And I actually eventually moved out of that apartment to another house. I rented a house with my high school best friend, and it was still within the limits of Levittown's fire district. So
Okay.
I would respond to their other firehouse.
Yeah,
station.
tell me,
So-
you were telling me off air a little bit about the apartment in Levittown.
Yeah. So I'm
Just
a
so
young
you
guy.
don't know,
I-
this
granted-
guy James
yeah.
is like 6'4".
Yeah,
What are you,
I'm
6'3"?
6'6".
6'6".
Yeah.
So
And I had a decent job, but not enough that I could really afford an apartment. So I rented the second floor of a Levitt house, and literally to even go to the bathroom, I had to tilt my head to the side because the ceilings,
was so
yeah. So it was
3 or 4
it was-
years of that.
yeah,
You know, you're a little bit.
Yeah, I have a lot of neck problems now.
But okay, so you're in Levittown 3 or 4 years. What makes you now say, I gotta, you leave Levittown?
I left Levittown because I met my now wife.
Okay.
It
was Diana, right? Did we say?
Diana, yep.
Diana.
She lived in Plainview. I eventually decide we're going to move in together. We know we're going to move forward with this relationship. We decide to move in together.
Mhm.
She lives in Plainview. She has a much bigger apartment than I was living in. There was no way the two of us were living in that Levitt apartment.
You wasn't living in there.
Yeah, I was barely living in it. So I decided to move in with her, and it's much too far to respond to Levittown.
From
So
Plainview.
I start the application and interview process with Plainview Fire Department.
So it just seems like, and I just, not to cut you off, but it just seems like no matter where you go, fire department's here.
It
didn't matter what's going on. I'm finding a
Yep.
department and I'm joining. It literally is in your heart.
It's buff blood, man.
Yeah, it's in your heart. Doesn't matter wherever I move, I find the volunteer service and
Absolutely.
I'm going in there.
Yeah.
But go ahead. So
we moved there.
A rich and smooth blend of golden grain and single malt, with notes of vanilla, honey, and toasted wood. Anything else just wouldn't be proper. Proper number 12, Irish whiskey.
We moved there. I start the application interview process with them, and I'm literally the night I'm supposed to meet with the chiefs for the interview, I get the letter from the New York City Fire Department to report on 2 weeks later to be sworn in.
What's the time difference when you started applying for it to when you actually got it?
Maybe 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously I had taken the test 7 years before.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
when you took the test, you took the test.
I took the test when I was still living in Wantagh.
Oh, okay. So this wasn't even a thought in your head.
I actually
thought it was over.
I thought the test was squashed already.
Okay.
I thought the test was over. I thought the list was squashed. And I didn't even know that I had gotten called because my brother, who was also a city fireman, he had gotten called by his investigator. And he called me to see how my investigation was going. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, I know your number's lower than mine. I got called by my investigator to start supplying stuff. How's yours going? I said,
I never got
anything. So he gave me the number of his investigator, and I called her, and she's like, yeah, we tried to contact you in your Wantagh address, and you never responded. I'm like, well, I updated my address. She goes, yeah, but you didn't update it with the city.
Wow.
So she's like, I need this, and this.
Let's get this thing
going.
going.
Get them to me soon. I can knock off like 4 weeks worth of stuff. I'm like, I'll be there tomorrow. I will be there tomorrow. And I drove to Brooklyn the next day with everything she wanted. And she's like, I'm really going to try and get you in your brother's class, but I don't know what's going to happen. And it wound up being a delay because I had cancer, and they wanted all kinds of medical information. So I wound up going in the class after my brother.
Okay.
So,
but still, Thanks for brother, man. Because if it didn't happen,
I thought that was done and over with. So,
thanks to brother. So let's just really quick, you get that letter, right? Well, so you get the call. You get the call from him about his and him asking you. Once she says that, what is going through your brain when you're on the phone and she's like, "Yeah, we've been looking for you."
I was like, I was in shock because, like I said, I thought that list was done.
Over.
I thought they had already moved on and given another test and made a new list. But it turned out, due to a bunch of lawsuits, they just kept hiring off the list and hiring. It was one of the longest lists they've ever hired off of.
Wow.
I think they almost depleted the entire list, and there were like 30-something thousand people on that list. And thank God there were, because otherwise they would have been in big trouble because they weren't allowed to give another test and make another list until the lawsuits were settled.
Wow.
So,
wow.
It worked in my favor. Thank God.
All right. So now you're in Levittown still.
No, I'm living in Plainview.
You're living in Plainview, doing the paperwork for Plainview. You get the letter
that
for
day,
FDNY.
And I literally go to the interview with the chiefs, and they're like, "Well, we see you have a lot of past history with fire departments. We're really excited to get you." I'm like, let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
I go, we're going to put this on hold. He's like, wait. I go, I literally got my letter to report for the FDNY today.
Okay.
He's like, oh, okay. He goes, well, we'll keep all your stuff, and we'll keep your check. We won't cash it for the application stuff, and you let us know. And within a month, I sent him an email. So listen, it's not. I can't do that right now. I'm in the academy. It's 12-hour days, and it's impossible. It's just, we'll see what happens a couple years down the road. And by that time, I'd asked my wife, then to marry me, and we bought a house out east and moved out there. So that whole thing just. Okay.
So now you're in FDNY. You're doing everything that you're doing in FDNY. Where does the next volunteer department come in? How many years in FDNY?
I would say I was probably in the FDNY a year to a year and a half, and we had moved out to Sound Beach, and I decided that I was going to once again jump in, and I joined the Sound Beach Fire Department.
Okay.
I only did about a year or maybe a little over a year there.
Okay.
And then realized it was with all that was going on, we were starting to get ready to have kids. I was working on the house, and it was just a little too much. Okay. So I said, I'm going to take a step back and just, I'm going to stay
Which is so important for our listeners, especially our younger guys or any guys that, you know, are listening, guys and girls that are listening. If you heard what he said, like, I see that I'm doing too much, I take a step back, right? I don't just sit there and be on the roster doing nothing. Right. I take a step back and, hey, I'll be back, right? I'll be back. So, all right. So, go ahead, keep going.
Took a big step back, did almost 20 years in the city. I did just under 20. I wound up getting really hurt in a fire. I wound up having about 9 operations on my left knee, plate 9 screws in my femur, cage and 16 screws in my kneecap, every ligament in my knee replaced.
Do you want to talk about what happened? Like how?
It just like
some water over there if you want to.
The poop hits the fan real fast in the city. Third alarm in Brooklyn. We're on the 2nd floor of a railroad flat in the hallway getting ready to make entry. I'm up there with the battalion chief, and they popped the door and the hallway lit up fast. And it was asses and elbows down the stairs trying to get out. And I was last. And I was getting burned pretty bad. And you just go into panic mode. Just like you see guys jumping out of windows and stuff. It was just you got to get out.
Mode.
So I literally jumped over the top of everybody and landed on the 1st floor landing, nothing but knee. Nothing but left knee. As soon as I hit the ground, I said, I'm pretty sure that's it.
That's it. That's done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Taken to the hospital in Manhattan. They have to cut my bunker pants off because my knee swelled up to the size of a basketball.
Wow.
They drained almost 2 pints of blood out of my knee. And, a million images later, they realize I have torn every ligament in my knee. I need a plate and screws in my femur. My kneecap is destroyed and everything.
Wow.
So, start the whole process of recovery. I want to get back.
I was going to say, so what's going through your brain right now?
From the second it happened was, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And I kept telling the doctors that. They send me to hospital for special surgery. I meet with Ann Kelly, who's actually right here in Uniondale. And she starts the process. And when she looks at everything, she realizes they weren't really worried about most of the ligaments. They were like, absolutely, we can replace them all, but you tore your PCL, and the PCL is responsible for all the stability in your knee. And only one doctor in really the country knows how to replace one of those and gotten people back to playing sports.
Okay.
He was a big sports doctor, and that was the head doctor for the New York Giants. So
wow.
They sent me to see Russell Warren, the head doctor for the New York Giants.
Okay.
He said, we're going to try
our
best.
Do it.
And
we're
he
did
the surgery. He put the plate in. He replaced the PCL. And I am totally convinced that he's the reason I'm even walking today.
Wow. Look at that.
But it was cool because I'd be sitting there recovering from my surgeries, watching football, and one of the players would get hurt, and my doctor would run out on the field.
That's my doctor. Yeah. That's my doctor.
But in the end, it just grew to be too much. It was too much damage to my knee, so I wound up going out on 3/4.
FDNY.
And it wasn't a question when I went before the board. They were like, "Oh, I can't believe you're even walking at
right.
all."
You walked in here, dude.
And I walked in there. I got boarded maybe 3 weeks after one of my surgeries, and I walked in there on crutches. They're like, "What are you doing on crutches?" I'm like, I told them I just had surgery, and they're like, "We can't even examine you because you're still wrapped up.
Yeah, you're still wrapped up. You can't even take it off.
Stitches out yet." So they're like, "We'll just look at your paperwork." They looked at my paperwork, and
they're like,
it wasn't even a question. They were like, "Yeah, you're done."
Yeah. Wow.
And I would absolutely go back tomorrow if they'd let me.
If they'd let you.
Not a question. And as much as the job has changed, I'd still go back.
You still
tomorrow.
go back.
Yep.
All right. So all of that happens. You're not in any volunteer services at that time. Nothing's going on.
Living in Sound Beach, decide to have a couple kids, have a son and a daughter. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, Jamie, Kyle. What's going on?
Kyle, my son, of course, coming from a big fire department family where we either both listen to, and let me take a side note to apologize to my wife for 25 years of listening to a scanner. She hates them. Hates them.
I can imagine.
I have like 10 of them. And
it's just going
they're
off.
everywhere. They're in the cars. They're in the house. They're in the basement. They're in the bedroom. They're everywhere. She hates them.
She's like, oh, here we go again.
So, he's just as hooked as I was as a kid.
Okay.
So, he has scanners, and he turns 18 and he decides to join the fire department, and he joins the next town over, Mill Place, which we're kind of right in the middle of the two.
Okay.
So we can go either or. He joins Mill Place Fire Department, and within 2 weeks of him being sworn in, he keeps coming home and going, they want to know why you're not in the fire department.
So how did they know about you? Like, what did they just knew your father,
Well, there are a couple guys, which I found out late, I didn't know at the time, a couple guys who I used to work with are in Mill Place Fire Department in the city.
Okay, so they already knew.
Yeah, so they knew me, and when
They're
he joined, they talked to him, and they're like,
kid.
they want to know why I didn't join the volunteers. And my son was like, he can't join, he's out on 3/4. And they're like, no, he can join. He can't be an interior firefighter, but we definitely have
can still
plenty
use him.
of positions for him.
So that's something right there, just so everyone knows. We always tell everyone, join, because we will find something for you. We need. So go ahead. So they call you. They're like, listen, this is James's kid.
So they're pestering me constantly, Dad. They're pestering me. You gotta. I'm like, I can't join. So another week goes by, and my son comes home from like a department meeting. He goes, one of the commissioners is going to call you.
There it is.
They want you to join. I'm like,
you
can have him call me,
but I
can't
do.
join. So it turns out it's a former lieutenant of Squad 252 in Brooklyn, and he's retired also, and he calls me. He goes, you can absolutely join. He goes, you won't be interior. You won't be breaking any of the rules of your retirement, your 3/4 and stuff. But we really could use you to drive the engines because we're really low on engine company chauffeurs. And we know you were a seated chauffeur in the city. And not only that, our engine 7 is literally was tacked on to a city order. And the only difference between the city rigs and this is the color. We painted it a different color than the city did. So this rig is exactly what you've been driving for 20 years. Okay. So, I went in and met with them. And sure enough, it was like riding a bike. They're like, we're going to get you certified to drive the engine. They take me out around the block. They have me pump for 2 seconds. Like, yep, you're good to go.
You're good to go. And that's it. You're in.
Yeah. And shortly after that, elections come up, and they're like, how'd you like to be chief driver?
Wow. Okay, so y'all have a chief driver.
Yeah, we have a chief driver. So
so what's the duties of a chief driver
it's
in the
kind of,
department?
they kind of consider it a stepping stone into becoming.
You can fancy yourself an expert, or you can fancy yourself a king. We'll just go fancy ourselves another glass of proper, rich and smooth, proper number 12 Irish whiskey.
It's kind of, they kind of consider it a stepping stone into becoming an officer. So they usually want you to be chief driver first, and then second lieutenant, first lieutenant, then captain.
Okay.
But with like every other department on Long Island, we're having a hard time getting members. So they were thrilled to, at least they knew I couldn't be a lieutenant because, lieutenants and the captains are all interior firefighters. And I said to them, I can't be chief driver because I can't become an officer.
Yeah, I can't become.
They're like, no, you can stay chief driver.
And you just stay there.
Anyone wants to be an officer, will jump right over that
position.
So, we are in charge of basically everything that has to do with the engines. Maintenance, anything that's wrong with it, making sure everything's operating properly, training on it. So I train the new chauffeurs.
Okay.
And the driving part it's not easy, but it's not as difficult as it's more about learning how to pump the engines, all the friction loss and how much friction loss is in each nozzle, like the hose, what you can supply, what you can't supply. If you're supplying a tower ladder, you really shouldn't be supplying a hose line also, stuff like that. So we do that. That's pretty much my responsibilities. And I've been it for a couple of years now, and I'm sure I'm going to continue to be it because no one really wants the job, and I don't mind it.
And you love it. Yeah. So, all right, so let's get into these stories, man. 35 years, I know you got some stories. So what you got for me from any of the departments that we just talked about?
So we
got a little story of FDNY of how you got hurt, but let's talk like what other stories you got.
I think that the one of the most, I guess, captivating and amazing things about the fire department in any aspect, volunteer or city, is the predicaments people get themselves into.
That's right.
And you roll up on scenes, you're like,
and the car is on the tippy top of a high. Like, how did this happen?
So, when when I started with the FDNY, I started in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and ladder 112. And at the time, they had a rotation program. So you were a probie for 3 years when I joined.
Okay.
And you do 1 year in your firehouse, and in the next 2 years in 2 other firehouses in the city. You get rotated to a second firehouse and then a third firehouse. That way you got a little taste of firefighting everywhere. Yeah. So I did my year in 112. Then I got rotated to Engine 260 in Long Island City. And great firehouse.
Okay.
Very hard to get to. It was in the middle of nowhere, and it wasn't near the LIE. Wasn't near Northern State. It was in the middle.
I gotta drive there.
So it was a long drive, but because it was a long drive, they made it a really, really great firehouse.
Okay.
And I did the bulk of my career there because I was there, and then 9/11 happened.
Okay.
So 9/11 happens. We lose 343 firemen, and they squashed the rotation program. They're like, we haven't got time for this. We're more worried about hiring new people and
getting people
filling the ranks.
Getting the bodies
going to
in
leave
here.
everyone where they are.
Yeah.
So I wound up staying at 260, which was a godsend. The guys there were awesome. They got me through. I wound up losing my brother, who was also a city fireman. He was in Engine 235 in Bed-Stuy.
Okay.
I go to the Trade Center. I've been to a couple fatal fires. I was also at the Father's Day fire. We were first due to that. That was probably the craziest fire I've ever been to, because literally we were first due on the ticket. Squad 288 just happened to be down the block, drilling or something. So they wind up pulling up first due. We get there, literally the only thing that's happening is a little smoke coming out of the eaves. That's it.
So you're not even thinking about anything.
Yeah, we're like,
all right.
there's definitely something going on in there, but who knows what it is. But
we'll figure it out.
Between us and squad, we can't get into the building. And then, everyone else, the cavalry starts rolling in, and they can't get into the building either. We're literally hearse tooling the basement door and can't get in. That's how secured this hardware store was. And I was telling Chris in my interview stuff, I almost died at that fire.
Wow.
We, being first due engine, we were set up. We pull, I don't know what happened. For whatever reason, they pulled an 1 3/4 first. And we were lined up against the side wall of the building, and the officer notices that we have an 1 3/4, and we're trying to make entrance into the basement, and he goes, "Go get a 2.5." This is a taxpayer, basically.
Yeah,
go get a 2.5.
More
Need more water. So we take 3 steps away from the side wall of that building to go get the 2.5, and the building explodes and comes down.
Wow.
I was back up. My control man, who was behind me, gets thrown across the street. Literally off his feet, hits a street sign and severs the bottom of his bottle off. And the bottle expels. He winds up getting 3rd-degree burns to his back from the expelling bottle.
From the bottle.
Yeah. But the whole side of the building comes down, buries 3 firemen. One of them, a friend of mine from ladder 116, gets buried under 2 tons of brick.
Wow.
Winds up getting about 36 breaks in his pelvis. It was a tough fire. And that's definitely something.
What's going through, just really quick, what's going through your brain when you move away to go get that other line, and then
it's
what's going
literally
through?
like you see in the movies, when you see like in war movies, when an explosion happens and all you hear is ringing. And you can't hear anything else. That's exactly what happens. I could not hear anything. All you hear is a ringing in your ears, and everything's in slow motion. You're turning around, and it's just piles and people running around screaming, but you can't hear a word they're saying because all you have is ringing in your ears. Yeah, it was crazy. That was probably the worst. But like I say, with the predicaments people get themselves into, something that starts so simple and becomes a major incident. I did a short stint in the battalion as a battalion aide, and their firehouse is on Greenpoint Avenue in Queens. But because we're on Greenpoint, we're just on the other side of the bridge to go into Brooklyn. So we respond first due to Brooklyn also, depending on where the call is. So we get a call for a confined space rescue at the sewage treatment plant in Brooklyn, in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. They are dismantling one because they just built a brand new one next to it. So they're trying to dismantle the one and get the new one up and running. And they hire someone to go into the human feces tank.
Oh my God!
With a hose line.
We know where this story
is loosen stuff up so it can be sucked up by
so the
a vacuum and brought over to the new one. And he winds up falling in.
Oh my God!
And is up to his armpits in human feces, trapped,
just sitting there,
and you know, every rescue company is there, every squad company is there, confined space, and now hazmat has to respond because to even operate in the vicinity of this gentleman, you're in human feces. So now it's a decon thing.
Yeah.
So it took us almost 3 hours to get him out. That's how trapped he had sank so far into it.
Wow.
And just, you know, trying to loosen the stuff up around him, get him out. He winds up going into hypothermia because the human feces are sucking all the heat out of his body. Yeah. It's like, how much worse could this get? I'm like, the guy simply falls into something and now we're there for 3 hours.
It kept going 3 hours.
Crazy
What
stuff.
does the smell like while y'all are in there? I know.
It's like, how are we here?
How are we here? What happened?
And it's just, and I'm one of my other ones that my wife always makes me tell is I'm not an EMS guy.
Okay.
I have
it's not for
you. You know, I was required to become a certified first responder. The city fire department sends you. Everyone's a certified first responder. We have to go to EMS runs. We did a billion EMS runs because my firehouse was first due to Queensbridge Projects, largest housing complex in the United States. And we get an EMS run one night for car versus motorcycle. And you always knew something was bad if EMS beat you to the scene because they're not in any rush to get to most of these calls.
Yeah.
So it's always engine company shows up first. We start treating the patient and then eventually
they'll
EMS.
eventually
but if
get
EMS
there.
is there before you, you know it's something good.
Yeah.
So we get there and...
In the heart of Blue Point, New York, the Johnny Mac Foundation stands as a beacon of hope and resilience. Founded in memory of FDNY firefighter John F. McNamara, who lost his life to 9/11 related cancer, this foundation embodies his enduring motto, whatever it takes. To supporting first responders and their families, the Johnny Mac Foundation is committed to making a long-lasting impact. Join us in honoring John's legacy and making a difference. Visit at johnnymacfoundation.org to learn more and contribute.
So we get there and they already have the patient on the stretcher and they're getting ready to load him into the bus, and the EMT from the EMS bus goes, grab his shoe over there. I'm like, what do you care?
Yeah,
about
like
his
why
shoe?
his shoe?
And I go over and I grab a shoe, and I realize they want his shoe because his foot is still
It's
in it.
still in it.
Yeah.
What?
And I was like, yep, I'm done with this. Here's your shoe. Be on your way. Really don't need that anymore.
So you went and got it, though?
Yeah, I went and got it.
So when you get over there, I know you're like... Did you grab it and then realize? Or
no, I
grabbed
it, I looked in it and I realized I saw
it's
the
a bone
and the rest of his foot is still inside the shoe.
I probably would have dropped it like, what the?
Yeah, and we had another call.
Grab his shoe.
Yeah,
they're probably laughing like he doesn't even know.
And it was funny, my 24 partner in the city, Timmy Delaney, he's down in South Carolina now. What's up, Timbo?
Timbo living life. Timbo living life.
Him and I both not EMS guys, so we'd fight, you know, to push the other one and you go in this time. So we get a call for a elderly woman bleeding. Simple call. We figured she cut herself or something. We open the door is open, ajar when we get on scene, and we open the door and there's blood strewn up the walls, across the ceiling. And I think, and that's why I look at the officer. I'm like, you might want to have PD respond to this because I have a feeling we're going to find something ugly in here. And you know, we slowly move in. Now we're very cautious because we don't know what happened here. I mean, there's literally streams of blood across walls and stuff. And we're like, hello. And we hear this little elderly woman, I'm in here. And we go in there and she's sitting on the couch with a towel around her ankle. We're like, what happened? She goes, I was putting on my pantyhose and I blew an artery. And it's just spewing everywhere. I'm like, she didn't even cut herself. She was just putting her pantyhose on and it just blew.
Wow.
It was like
old age.
Stuff. And that's what I'm saying. Like the stuff you see.
You're like, wow, what?
And Mill Place is the same. So where we are on Long Island, we cover a large stretch of Route 25A out in Suffolk County. And it is now, I think, considered either the second or the third most dangerous stretch of road in the United States.
Wow.
I'm only in Miller Place Fire Department a couple years. In those couple years, I've already been to 5 fatals on that road for car accident. Most of them motorcycles. People just, the problem is there's not enough traffic lights.
Yeah.
They need to put like 3 or 4 more traffic lights to slow everyone down, but they won't do it. And people just go way too fast. And yeah, some crazy stuff. I've seen some really bad, stuff. I've seen a motorcycle take the entire side of a Prius off. Both doors, the fender, the quarter panel, took the entire side of the car off. So that's why you can't believe the predicaments people
that they get themselves into. All right, so let's get to some questions. We're gonna get to more stories, but let's get into some questions. Okay. So, quick question: common myth you'd want to debunk about firefighting?
Common myth, which I think is very important for people to remember, is that firefighters and EMS personnel are not invincible.
Okay,
we give that appearance. We show up at your worst point in your life. We run into burning buildings, but when we come out, we're not going to be like, oh, let's go to next. You folks need to remember, especially our firefighters and EMTs, there are services out there for you. There are counseling service, and that was one of the biggest draws for the Miller Place Fire Department. Was when my son joined. About 2 or 3 weeks after he joined, he winds up going on a cardiac arrest, and he's doing CPR almost the whole way to the hospital.
Okay.
He wasn't home 5 minutes. He started getting messages from the chiefs, from the EMS officers, from his friends. If you need to talk, call me. If you need services, let me know. We have services available for you. And honestly, I was at 9/11, and I needed those services. They were very important, and they were a huge help. So don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to look for those services, because it makes a big difference.
Makes
it really
a big
does.
difference.
Yeah.
Talking about your son, have you ever been to a call where you're pumping and he's
I actually have a bunch of photos from us, his first fire. Miller Place is a very safe community outside of Route 25A. So it's been a couple years, I would say a little over a year since we've had a fire in Miller Place.
Okay.
We get a lot of invitations to other fires. Yeah. Mount Sinai seems to be burning pretty well. So I've gone to a couple Mount Sinai fires with him where he's been in, and I have pictures, proud Papa standing out on the pump panel taking pictures.
I got to know what you're thinking. You're outside pumping and you see him scot up. You see him. What's going through your mind when you see him going in there?
Nothing but pride.
Here we go. I know that feeling.
My son is a smart kid, and he loves every second of being part of the fire community. And it's a lot of pride to see him go in there and follow Dad's footsteps.
There you go. I love it. I love it. One day, hopefully. Yeah. Jaden, I hope you're listening. He is listening. He edits the show. I hope he's listening. I want that. All right. So I got a question about just like technology. It's evolved over the years of being in the fire services. It is, really evolved. So what's one piece of equipment or technology that kind of, impacted your job?
So it's not as much as that it impacted my job as it's impacted the community. And a lot of people don't realize that this advancement even exists.
Okay.
The FDNY works very closely with Channel 7, and they do a lot of fire prevention stuff. And one of the things I think that is advanced that I hope everyone will now know about is both smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. When I first got in the fire department, carbon monoxide detectors weren't even a thing.
That wasn't even. Yeah.
People didn't know that you needed one. But what other people don't realize is the advancements in smoke detectors, especially for children. A lot of people don't know children under the age of 10 will not wake up to a smoke detector that's going off in your house.
Wow, I never even thought of
and there's a big, if you search YouTube for talking smoke detectors, Channel 7 did a whole story and investigation on this, and they did a whole thing about showing, they went into a family's home, and they, in the middle of the night, they set off the smoke detectors, and none of the 3 kids woke up to the smoke detector.
Would it beep in and boop, beep, nothing?
And to the point where they took the smoke detector off the wall and held it next to the child's head, and the child still slept through it, because the brain functions of younger kids are trained basically to sleep through noise. because your parents, you're staying up later,
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
company
yeah,
over,
yeah,
kids
yeah.
going to bed at 7, 8 o'clock. Is their bedtime. So they're trained to sleep through all that noise. And part of that noise is smoke detectors. So I saw this story originally when I first got on the city fire department about them had come out with a talking smoke detector. And what you do is you buy this smoke detector and you record your voice. You say, Jamie and Kyle,
Wow,
there's a fire in
wow.
the house. Get up, do what you've been trained, meet at our meeting place in the front of the house. And so I saw this story. And I'm like, I have to try this. I don't believe this. This is a sales thing. And I literally held a smoke detector next to my kid's head while they were sleeping, and they did not even flinch.
Wow.
So my kids will tell you, being a city fireman and seeing, tragic, fires where people perish.
Yeah.
I didn't ever want that to happen. So I held fire drills in my house constantly. Middle of the night.
Dad's going another fire drill.
I even went so far as to buy a smoke machine and filled my house with smoke. So it was realistic. But I bought 2 talking smoke detectors, one for each one of my kids' rooms. And every single time I tried one of those, the kids woke up because they're tuned to your voice. And when they hear your voice, they wake up. And I implore anyone with kids, look into talking smoke detectors.
Yeah.
Home Depot sells them, Lowe's sells them. You can buy them straight from the companies. They will make all the difference for your children. If you want your children to get out of the house, you have to have a talking smoke detector.
Wow.
So,
Okay. I never even heard of that.
Yeah,
I
a lot of people
heard
haven't.
that of a talking one.
Yep.
So now y'all heard it here. So go take a look. Go find out.
Yep.
And you get to record your own voice.
You record your own voice because that's what the children
That's what
wake
they'll
up
know.
to.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what
and
they'll wake up
It
to.
kind of calms them down too because they hear their parents' voice and they know, okay,
All right,
mom and
let me
dad
go
are saying,
do what.
it's
let
time
me go
to get
do
out of
where
the
I'm
house.
supposed to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also obviously practice exit drills in your home.
There you
Get
go.
your kids used to meeting at the tree in the front yard or wherever, your car in the front yard,
Yeah.
so that everyone shows up the same place. So if someone doesn't show up, you can let the fire department know Johnny's
person's
not here.
not there. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so you know what we could do? Let's get into the flashover. We got a game called Flashover. We got a game called the Flashover. I'm pretty sure you know about it, James.
I know all about it.
So we're going to get into the Flashover where I'll ask you a couple of questions, Android, Apple, and you got to give me an answer, okay?
No problem.
Now, we're going to do TVs, movie shows, and we're going to do a couple of extra questions in there, all right?
Okay.
So we got a couple of extra new questions that I want to ask you for the first time on this show.
All right.
So we're going to get a couple of questions, all right? So, James, are you ready for the Flashover?
Let's get it on.
Let's get it on. Okay, so let's go. Old school leather helmet or the modern composite?
Leather all the way.
Leather all the way, bending the back and
So,
everything?
This was actually a great thing this year with my son joining the fire department.
Okay.
I have my old leather helmet in the basement,
And you have it too.
He's constantly looking at it going, Dad, so what are you going to do with that leather helmet? I'm like, that's my leather helmet, Kyle.
That's it. That's your
And,
leather helmet.
For a big surprise this year for Christmas, I had the helmet refurbed and I gave it to
And
him
you
for
gave it to
Christmas.
him.
And I have never seen a bigger smile on my son's face.
Wow, I
for
love
Christmas
it. I
gift.
love it.
When he opened that package and saw that helmet. So
I know he was
is
like,
loving it.
wow.
So he's part of the leather crew now.
Part of the leather crew,
Yep.
man. All right, let's keep going. All right. Shower before bed or smoke as the cologne?
Oh, no. You got to shower before bed.
You got to shower
Yeah.
before bed. You're not getting into bed with your wife, right?
The problem with that is the bedroom smells like smoke for a month.
For a
And my
whole
wife would
month.
have a fit if I
She'd
got into the
lose
shit.
it.
Yeah, she
that
would.
and the radios.
Yeah.
That Diana's not trying to hear it. She's
Yep.
not trying to hear it.
Nope.
All right, so let's keep going. Let's keep going. Drive the rig at a parade or drive the chief
No,
truck?
rig all day long.
Rig all day long.
I'll drive a
Driving the
rig. I drive a rig, to my
To
part-time
the
job
bagel
if
shop.
I could. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Brush fire or rocking dumpster fire?
Oh, brush fire. Who wants to overhaul garbage? Come on.
You've done
Yeah.
enough of that.
And
With
listen,
the
we have a GI in our firehouse, so we go deep into the woods with them, and we get called to a lot of mutual aid brush fires. So yeah, brush fire all day long.
okay, brush fire all day going. Midnight call or a 5 a.m. call? You got to pick
Midnight.
which one.
Midnight. I don't wanna
Doing
get
a
up.
midnight
Yeah.
call. Trying to get up.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Basement fire or warehouse fire?
Basement fire.
Basement fire?
Yeah. No.
But
I've been
I gotta
to
say
plenty
this,
of
James.
warehouse
You're
fires.
6'6".
Yeah.
I can't see how basement fires are that fun for
They're
you.
not. And basement fires, I even remember in the academy, I didn't like even training for basement fires, but no one wants to fight a fire from a search line.
That's
It's
that's
just too far in, too much chance of things going really bad really quickly and getting lost, and no one wants to do it. Basements are only so big.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a good question because I wonder what you're gonna say, right? And I want you to think of all of the parts of it. Going down the hallway with who? Salty old vet or the young, hungry rookie? Now, I'm asking you this because I know you do a lot of training. So I'm wondering, you have the choice. You're going down. And they're like, all right, who you picking? Who we're going with? Who you pulling?
I would probably pick new guy.
New guy.
I'd like to see the new guys, especially in the volunteer departments. We don't get a lot of experience, so I'd like to get them as much experience as possible, so they can become a salty old vet.
So they can. That's right. So they can become.
They learn what to do, what not to do, how not to get yourself in trouble, so they can keep the training going.
Okay.
And one day they'll be going down the hall,
and they're going that hallway with their new guy pulling them. All right. Summer heat in gear or winter cold in wet boots. Pick your punishment. Pick your punishment.
I've done both, and they're both horrible.
They're both brutal. Both of them.
I'm not a big heat fan, so I would probably. I'm not a big fan of wet boots either. But I would
pick one.
Yeah, I'd probably pick the wet boots.
Wet boots.
I mean, in the summertime, you just look at the bunker gear and you start sweating, and it's just too hot.
It's too hot. You're like, I can't do this. I can't do this. All right. This is a good one for you. Old school pager or the modern app, mobile app alerts?
I'm a big radio guy.
Okay,
I'm a ham radio operator.
Diana, I'm sorry. I know.
I don't even I don't even carry my department issued pager. This is my personal one because Suffolk County, while our ops and our fireground channels are conventional, our response and talking to Firecom is all on the P25 trunk network, and our pages don't do that. So I went and got myself a P25 pager, so I can listen to the rigs responding. So I know, and it's one of the things I find our department is lacking in is once we're toned out, our guys can't tell what rigs are on the road, what chiefs are on the road. We don't know anything Firecom has additional to say, like the alarm company called back, there's heavy smoke in the basement. They don't hear any of that. And I've always been taught from day one, your size up from the alarm comes the second your pager goes off. You're listening to everything they say, and you want to hear everything that's going on before all that from the minute you leave your house to the second you show up on scene. That's important. All size up.
All
Granted, as soon as you get there, you look at the house, you're sizing up the house, but all that stuff in between is still included in your size up.
That's right.
And I think
that's so important that people don't really talk about, right? Because a lot of guys are in the back seat talking, chatting. Like, you should be listening. You should be listening.
And you should notice what's the weather, what's the wind, is it raining, is it sunny, is it hot, is it cold,
all those things will matter.
Ice, all that stuff makes a difference. That size up starts from the second the alarm comes in.
That's right. All right, let's keep going. Confirmed car fire or an automatic alarm with a light smoke condition?
I'll take confirmed fire any day. I've been to so many ballasts with a little smoke and stuff. Granted, I understand it could be something. It could be roaring in the basement. No one sees it yet, but 99% of the time, it's nothing. And I'll take a confirmed car fire any day.
All right, let's do some movies and TV shows. Are you ready?
I'm ready, but I can tell you right now, my wife will not let me watch anything with her.
All right, let's go. Chicago Fire, Rescue Me.
Rescue Me all day long.
All day. So Rescue Me, third watch.
Third watch.
Third watch.
There's a specific reain for both of those shows.
Okay.
Both of those shows were filmed in my firehouses.
Were they?
Yes. Rescue Me was filmed in Rescue Me, the police precinct was the school behind my firehouse.
Okay.
They just changed it
up, yeah.
I've had dinner with Dennis Leary. Because they set up all the trails and stuff on our block, and he's come and hung out at the firehouse, so I've met him. I've been to the Rescue Me set several times on overtime because they were doing live burns, and they have to have a fire company present.
Okay.
So I've met just about every cast member of Rescue Me.
That's cool.
Third
that
watch.
Is cool. That is cool.
When I was in the battalion, they were redoing our firehouse, and we got moved to Engine 258, Ladder 115, and they were filming Third Watch.
You just got lucky. Like, how does that happen?
Well, that's Long Island City. That's where Silver Cup Studios is.
Okay, so that's
there's tons of filming constantly around our entire district. Between
always.
NYPD Blue, Blue Bloods, Rescue Me, Third Watch, tons of
stuff. That's
Superstore. Yeah,
Okay.
So I've met a lot.
You met a lot.
And I've
Okay.
been to a lot of movie sets. Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Backdraft, ladder 49.
Ladder 49.
Ladder
Backdraft.
49 all the
I'm
way?
not a Hollywood person, and
And
Ladder 49 definitely much more true to life.
True to
of
life.
what actually happens.
Running through with the axe out
Yeah,
again and all of that.
So it's definitely more, and that's why my wife, she won't let me watch Chicago Fire with her. Because I'll sit down.
I don't even push your car.
Yeah, she's like, "Come on!" I'll be like, "Come on!" She's like, "Shut up!
Watch the show. All right. Most important question I'm going to ask James today, and you've been all over, so I really want to know what you're going to say. Engine or truck?
Oh, engine all day long.
Engine all day long?
Last time I checked, you can't put a fire out with a hook.
Hey, there we go. All right, engine. And, of course, your son is in the engine company as well. All right, so, listen, before we get out of here, I still got a couple of questions for you. Yeah, right. I just want to know, in a whole, how has being in the volunteer fire department changed your life?
I've been service-oriented for as long as I can remember. Outside of volunteering for the fire department, we do a lot of other service stuff. I'm big with the Boy Scouts. I help with the Guide Dog Foundation, America's Vet Dogs. We raise and train dogs to be either seeing eye dogs or service dogs. But we just love helping out the community. So I think it just gives me a good feeling of pride that I can help people in my neighborhood or my community in their worst times in their worst times. Yeah. So.
I love it. I love it. All right. And last question that I got for you today, James, is, there's people that are listening to this show right now that just got in or, are thinking about going in. What type of advice would you want to give them?
Definitely join. And there's more to the fire service than just firefighting. If you're going to join, get involved with everything that's in your firehouse.
Okay.
Join the bowling league. Join the softball.
Is the Miller Place?
Miller Place has a bowling league.
Miller Place has a
softball team. Miller Place has a motorized drill team. We just competed and came in 5th at Lindenhurst yesterday. So that's how you get new members of your family. You become friends with doing all these things. So a lot of fun to be had outside of just training and putting fires out. So get involved, become friendly with the members of your company, become friendly as the member of your firehouse, become friends with members of your department, and you're never going to regret it.
That's right.
Yeah,
I love it.
Great family to have.
I love it. I love it. James, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you so much for coming down.
Pleasure being here.
Quick question. Next person, if you had to pick someone to be on this show, who would it be? I think we got to get your son down here. We got to get him down here.
I would say my son. I would also say someone who's not in the fire department who I think you should have on is Phil Lichtenberger.
Okay.
Phil Lichtenberger does a podcast called Scanner School. He teaches everyone anything there is to know about scanners.
I'm writing this down right now.
He is the man. He knows everything there is to know about fire department radios, fire department scanners, what to listen to, how to listen to it, what you're missing, how to find out what you're missing.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. That may be something we may have to just kind of
off the beaten path.
But that's still good, especially with social media. We could possibly connect with him somehow and start putting out quick little shorts of him, showing some things. I like that. Thank you, James. Thank you, James. All right, listen, I hope you all enjoyed that. I really did. We just heard from my boy James Fehling. He is the chief driver. Am I right?
You are.
Chief driver and a member of the Miller Place Fire Department, about his life as a firefighter, even in FDNY. He's been there for 20 years. He was doing that. All right. I hope you all enjoyed the conversation. Please like, share, subscribe, do all of those things. I am your host, Chris Moses, and please tune in next week to another great conversation in the Firehouse.